Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Zandvoort International Circuit here in the Netherlands. Hotspot, back on the call here for F2. It's been a little while. I decided that it's probably better off if I just stick to the commentating and I stick to, doing the stewarding and whatnot. So we have ourselves this race here today here in the Netherlands. It's actually been quite a while since we visited the Netherlands, and we're going to have one-shot qualifying here as usual for the F2 cars. 18 drivers on the grid for tonight. That is quite a good one. That has to be said. Thankfully, it's going to be a dry session all the way through. We've been experimenting with having real-life weather, and we just missed the rain by about 2 hours with this one, so we should be good to go. I think at some point I did promise Peter that I'll have to perform a shoey. I don't know how I'm going to pull that off, but we'll definitely find out as it looks like qualifying about to begin. Who is going to be on board with? It's going to be A-Dub, the one half of the Dutch Pride filling out in the Grand Prix tonight. A-Dub in that Van Amersfoort team that has absolutely been dominating the constructor standings so far this season. His teammate of Lancey is actually Dutch himself, so his home Grand Prix, his first here in the Midwest F1, I believe, as we're on with A-Dub. These are really tricky series of corners here, especially with these preset setups. You definitely want to make sure that you got good traction, good acceleration as well. And it seems like he's done just that. A-Dub currently sits fourth. Kate Thomas on provisional pole at this moment in time, which is right good to see after I accidentally took him out of the Grand Prix last week in Silverstone. So that's quite good to see that he's doing quite well. Lancey now making his way through Sector 2. I'll have to get myself a track map up. I don't actually have my laptop on me. This is quite a mistake. Now making his way, I believe this is turn 10 he's making his way out of. Down the DRS straight into this very sharp right-handed corner. Very easy to get wrong as well. And if you do get it wrong, it's going to be hugely detrimental to you in the race. That's a big wiggle there for Lancey exiting the corner now into the steeply banked left-hander of 13 and 14. Currently sits third is Lancey. I was right. That was turn 10. Lucky guess for me. Lancey coming down the line now. It looks like he's going to go third. And that's exactly A-Dub on pole position. 119.720. It's a very hotly contested front couple rows there. It's A-Dub in first. Second is Kate Thomas. Third is Lancey. And fourth, Shariah Coleslaw, alternating between Van Amersfoort and Prema, the front two rows, and that's pretty much how it's been all season. Cam Tizzle will start fifth in the Charoux, sixth is Will Ans, Adaltonian seventh, Shelley the Turtle eighth, Not Gravity ninth, 10th is Texas Tornado, 11th is E. Warren, 12th Cars Ben, 13th Optic, 14th ECL, 15th Electric Blade, 16th Mayhem Tomorrow, 17th Josh Senior, 18th Posh Josh. Unfortunately, everyone from 15th onward did not get an opportunity to put in a timed lap. So it's A-Dub on pole, Kate Thomas in second. And we are in store for a good one here. The top 5 positions all within a second of each other. It's going to be a very entertaining Dutch Grand Prix here, hopefully. And I say hopefully, I don't mean to completely be biased here, but this is Lancey's home Grand Prix. While we have a moment, let's take a look at the Constructors and Drivers' Championship. First, the drivers. It is Lancey atop his teammate of A-Dub, 270 to 245. Shariah third. Kate Thomas fourth at 201. Fifth, Say at 184, who's not here. Sixth is Posh Josh. 7th, Josh Senior, 8th, Optic, 9th, Electric Blade, and 10th is Cam Tizzle. And then in the Constructors' Championship, Van Amersfoort commanding lead 514 to Prema's 429, and then even further behind is Virtuosi at 296, 294 for Art, 221 for Trident, 180 for Carlin, 158 for High Tech and Charoux both. 9th is Dams at 98, and then 10th is MP, which is a team that's been mostly full of reserves this season, at 67. So really, the battle has been largely up front this season, and unfortunately, the championship standings don't actually really, they don't do a justice to the great racing that's been on display so far here this season. It's been brilliant racing. I was happy to be a part of it up until now. as A-Dub and Lancey both, I think, have a couple wins on them so far this season. Tires, let's look at that. It's going to be the softs and the hards. We can go ahead and expect that it's about a 50-50 procedure there. You'll be you'll be stopping around probably lap 8 or 9, is what my guess would be. Lancey, 2 wins on the season. His teammate of A-Dub currently on pole with 2 as well. So perhaps the tiebreaker to be made here between the 2 Van Amersfoort drivers. These were 2 that got paired up late last season, as ECL and Electric Blade have come together there on the formation lap. These 2 drivers got paired up late last season and made an immediate impact for at what the time was the HWA team. And now they've been absolutely dominant, to say the least, and it's really stayed that way throughout this season. Of course, time to time you'll see a Prima poke their head into the picture, but it really has been largely dominated by the Dutch. And Kate Thomas here has, this is an interesting strategy here. Usually, when you're inside that top 5, you don't see many drivers start on the slower compound of tires, as Kate Thomas has done that. He's starting on the hards. Could that perhaps be somewhat of a detrimental decision to him? We'll have to wait and see. It looks like everybody outside Electric Blade and Mayhem have started on the hards. So I'd have to say people have favored starting on the hards here over the softs. Quite an interesting predicament that, but we'll have to wait and see what kind of results this will yield, as it looks like a couple more are going to be disqualified for not parking correctly. As the grid lines up here, hopefully we get ourselves a good one. Hotspot back on the call. Really happy to be back in the booth. It looks like we're going to have lights turning on here. 4 and then 5 here at Zandvoort. It is lights out and away we go for the Dutch Grand Prix, and it looks like everyone's gotten away quite well. We got Josh Dean, a couple Carlins off towards the middle. That's 4 wide back there. Big contact into the first corner goes A-Dub, and it looks like we've almost got 3 abreast, maybe even 4 abreast back there towards the midfield, and it looks like as they make their way out of the first and second corner, everything looks to be okay at the moment. No big shuffling about, except for that of Cam Tizzle, who's poked his head into 4th. He's gotten past Shariah Coleslaw off the line. It looks like Mayhem's made up some ground. He's up to 13th. Electric Blade swapping positions with Cars Ben there. That looks like a side-by-side battle, and a tricky one at that. Usually you don't want to go side-by-side here, and that happens to be exactly what they're doing. Texas Tornado and Mayhem Tomorrow side-by-side now, making their way out through, I believe this is turn 5 and 6 perhaps now. My track map has gone away. Looks like we got a car way off wide. That is Texas Tornado. He's had a little bit of an off there, but at the moment, A-Dub has gotten out to a commanding lead already. Here's Lancey within 0.2 of a second of Kate Thomas, looking to get within that slipstream and perhaps get down to the inside and late break him into that tight 90-degree right-hand corner, and that's not exactly what's going to happen there. Kate Thomas having to defend, and I'm afraid once DRS comes into play, that's going to be all she wrote. It does look like we have a car off towards the back, and it is Cars Ben, as well as perhaps as that E. Warren. No, but CPI Optic has slowed down here. E. Warren has made up a couple of places, so is Adoltonian. Posh Josh, I think he's going to lose one here, and down to the inside is CPI Optic. That was actually a brilliant move, to say the least. Lancey and Cake Thomas side by side. Lancey way down to the inside on Cake, and he's made that one happen. And it has to be said, we kind of expected that, given that Cake started on the off compound of tires, and now he'll have to defend behind to his teammates. Cam Tizzle wants in on this as well. He's been bumped down to 5th where he started. And it looks like now he's got a lot of quick drivers ahead of him. Hopefully for him, he'll be able to strike back. We've got Shelly the Turtle battling it out with Not Gravity here. He's going to look for the left-hand side. Into the grass goes Shelly the Turtle. Can he stick it round the outside? No, the answer is going to be no with that one, I'm afraid. Although he is still right there. That's a car way off out wide, and that's Cam Tizzle. What has happened here is he perhaps lost the car. Thankfully, it seems that he hasn't picked up any wing damage, but that one is not ideal. And off towards the back, we do have Adoltonian also taking a trip through the gravel. Yet again, hasn't exactly hit anything, but still, that was quite sketchy there. And now it looks like, is that one of the dams? It's Cars Ben off again towards the back. E. Warren was just in a battle there not long ago. We've got the 2 Primas swapping position now. It's Shariah Coleslaw up to 3rd. Cake Thomas letting his teammate go through. That's a big contact there between Shelly the Turtle and Not Gravity. Shelly wanted the inside. Oh, and he spun it right into the middle of the track. That is not ideal. Oh, and that's a big impact. Shelly the Turtle was trying to back off the circuit, and I'm afraid one of the cars there perhaps got a little confused seeing a car stopped on the side of the track, and that is going to be a safety car. It looks like Texas Tornado has gone off as well. Very unfortunate turn of events there, as Shelly the Turtle got into it with, I believe it was Posh Josh. He hit the side of the car on entry to turn 14, I believe it is. Yes, turn 14, no, 13 rather, got into it on the inside of the car. Tried to save it, got a little too heavy on the throttle, and unfortunately the car continued to spin sideways, and he was stuck in the middle of the circuit. And that has been the result of this safety car here. Not a very ideal day for Texas Tornado making his return, as well as Shelly the Turtle. I believe now, is this a second race in a row? I could be wrong as far as that. But I will say that it has been some great racing so far. That has to be said. Looks like Texas Tornado upset there with Mayhem. I'm not sure why, say slamming the brakes. I didn't really get a scene as to what happened there. It looks like the drivers who started on the softs are going to be coming into the pits this lap. Remember, you have to complete 3 laps on the compounded tires to be able to come in and make the stop. So it looks like Posh Josh, Carsben, and E. Warren, they might have to come in again. I don't think they've met that 3-lap threshold. In comes Lancey as well. So this is the interesting thing here. Does the double stack, unfortunately, hurt that Van Amersfoort team, as now it looks like a lot of cars are coming in, Will Ans being one of them. I think Will Ans might come out to a good one here. He might actually be able to overtake at least one of the Van Amersfoorts in the pits. We'll have to wait and see. On goes the hard tires. It down the grid, and I believe, yeah, A-Dub's down to 7th. Everyone ahead of him was able to pit, or started on the hards, rather. Lancey has lost 1, 2, 3, 4 spots there just on behalf of the double stack coming into play. Not ideal whatsoever for the Dutchman in his home Grand Prix, and he'll have quite the mountain to climb once we get up back to racing here. It looks so the top 6, Adaltonian upwards, all started on the hard tires, so we can assume they'll be in around at 10 laps time, maybe less than that. So hopefully for them, they're able to get out to somewhat of a lead here. Will that be the case? I'm not entirely sure. Cake Thomas has a lot of pace on him, but again, this is where I think starting on the off compound has probably hurt him because... oh, and that's a spin there, I'm sorry. That is the Trident of ECL, who has just taken a mere spin going through turn 11. That... Yikes, and I tell you what, that was a little bit of a odd spin there to say the least. So while the safety car sorts itself out, I'm going to step aside temporarily. So the safety car coming in this lap. Now this is what I'm concerned about here, and actually we've got CPI Optic and Josh Sr., 2 cars that did not pit, up 10 and up 13 spots respectively. This is what I'm worried about now, is that not HWA, Van Amersfoort of Lancey, down 8 spots, and now he has actually traffic in between him and his teammate of A-Dub, who was leading the race prior to the pit stop there. So this might be heavily detrimental for Lancey. And it has to be said as well, 2 drivers very close together in the championship standings. We're halfway through the season now, getting towards the business end of it. At what point do you declare a good old Lewis Hamilton and Nico Rosberg situation? We'll have to keep an eye out for that as Cake Thomas leads the field back to green here. Not Gravity's going to look at that slipstream. Might have a peek down the inside. He's going to choose not to. CPI Optic goes deep into the corner. Side by side between A-Dub and Adaltonian there temporarily. That's ECL 973 off in the gravel on the outside of turn 1, and it looks like Not Gravity, something has happened with him because now he rides the curbs down to the inside of turn number 4. I want to say that his map's gone again. Yep, turn number 3, rather. That's not ideal for him. He drops down to P11. Thankfully, he's not in the way of any of our other leaders. Josh Sr., at the moment, trying his best to claw back to A-Dub here, but the pace that Van Amersfoort has, I'm afraid, he's not going to have much to do. Jake Thomas, I will say, at the moment does have a 1.2 second lead, as now that's an incident towards the back, and it's Posh Josh, who has had a little bit of a spin there coming out of turn 8. Not good for him. Adaltonian trying to use the slipstream of Josh Sr., and right behind him is actually the Prima of Shariah Coleslaw. Behind him, Will Ans in his return to F2 in pursuit as well. It's a very close pack racing here, to say the least, here at Zandvoort, and it's very good indeed. Adaltonian way down to the inside, and he's going to get around Josh Sr. there, and so will Shariah Coleslaw. Josh Sr. losing 2 positions there in the span of 1 corner. Not ideal for him, and now Will Ans, he's going to want to move down to the inside. Nice little pack racing here. Josh Sr. is going to go way wide through the corner. He may lose another spot there. That's a big incident. I believe, it's Will Ans, and it's Electric Blade as well, but Will Ans, I think, is unfortunately faced the brunt of that one. He's been turned around coming out of turn 1, and that's going to be a huge detriment to his day there. Not what he needed, as now Cars Ben is slow. Oh, that's Cars Ben, and I believe that's Josh Sr. as well. Not good at all for Josh Sr., who it's going from bad to worse for him, I'm afraid. Not good to see whatsoever. Get the 2 Charouzes right here, 8 and 9 at the moment, defending from Gravity behind. Gravity really wants to tuck it down to the inside there. Perhaps does he switch back on his way into turn 10? He may have a look. I think that might be what he does. DRS is not going to be open. I don't think we're at that threshold yet. Perhaps next time round. I've already lost track of the lap counts. Late on the brakes there's Gravity. He may actually miss the corner, and that's pretty much what he's done. That was almost dangerous there from the Virtuosi driver. Here's Lancey. He's going to have to look to get around Adaltonian now. Within that slipstream, coming around the 14th corner, DRS enabled. Lancey's going to tuck it down to the inside, make his way into what I believe is Tarzan corner. A-Dub's gotten around CPI Optic. Right there going in through turn 1. Those 2 are 2, and then 3. A-Dub on the outside. CPI Optic, look at the speed that A-Dub is able to get around the outside. He's going to stick right with him, and that's the benefit of racing on banked corners. A-Dub still side by side with CPI Optic. This is brilliant racing for the 2nd spot and what is eventually to be the 1st spot once Jake Thomas comes into the pits. Still side by side between these 2. It's absolutely brilliant stuff. And A-Dub is, I believe, up at least 4 positions since the off of the safety car. It's been brilliant racing for him, and most importantly, for his sake, he stayed out of trouble as well, which is exactly what he needed to do, and now finds himself in a position where he will eventually inherit the lead, as we have another Virtuosi gone around. It's not Gravity backing it across the circuit now, and he's lost a hefty portion of his front wing. Not good for him whatsoever. It looks like now Lancey looking forward on Shariah Coleslaw. These 2 really, we've seen their names in close quarters quite a few times this season. Lancey was able to get the move done into the 1st corner on Adaltonian last lap. Let's see what he's able to manage here on Shariah Coleslaw, who currently sits 4th in the standings in his own right, I believe. CPI Optics going to switch back down to the inside to try to make a move on A-Dub. It's brilliant racing between these 2. Lancey wants to do the same thing past Shariah Coleslaw. Let's see if Optic is able to make anything happen. He is missing that right front end plate on the front wing of the car, which is going to severely hinder his downforce and straight line speed as well, not to mention braking on top of that. Those are all heavily impacted by that front wing damage. Lancey within 2/10 here on Shariah Coleslaw. Can he get even further within the top 5? Shariah's going to have to defend like a lion, and I think that's exactly what he's trying to do. Lancey doesn't have a move at the moment. Optic looking around the outside. Can he switch back down to the inside on A-Dub? A-Dub's parked it on the apex there in defense. Nicely done. That's going to hinder CPI Optics' getaway out through DRS into turns 11 and 12, and I think A-Dub's going to get away with that one. Lancey's still in pursuit of Shariah Coleslaw. He needs to keep it clean here for the rest of the lap, because once DRS comes into play, this one might be all over for Shariah as they go through now turn 13. It looks as if Lancey's going to get better acceleration. I'm actually not quite sure he did whatsoever. CPI Optica, does he have anything for A-Dub down in the 1st corner? He's going to look to be late on the brakes. Late on the brakes he is. He is going to get there, but only just. Lancey, however, is going to go around the outside, and it looks like we've got a yellow flag. Quite sure who. Adaltonian on his way into the pits now. Optic and A-Dub still battling it out here, and still as well, Lancey and Shariah Coleslaw. It's been brilliant racing all day between these four drivers, and all the while, Kate Thomas building up the lead while he can. You can see the tires really are starting to wear away on the Prima, and hopefully for him, he's built up enough of a gap to where that's not actually hurt him. I think without the safety car, he may have pulled off a great strategy, but how many positions is Kate Thomas going to lose once he has to make the stop, which I believe is going to be coming in at any lap now? So that'll be really interesting to see. Speaking of interesting to see, here's A-Dub and CPI Optic once again, battling for the second position. It's been non-stop between these two. Since the safety car came in, it's been brilliant battles as well. Mayhem tomorrow, 3 seconds for multiple warnings. He's just come out of turn 9, so I think he's gone off the curb a little too heavily on the outside. I believe that CPI Optic on his way in. Was he one of those who started on the hards? Yes, he was. So it's just Kate Thomas left to make his pit stop. In comes Optic. Does he replace the front wing? The answer's going to be no. And I think that's it's definitely saved him some time. Well, a little bit of a mix-up here. Posh Josh, Mayhem, and Electric Blade. Very close quarters there. I believe there was almost contact made between these three. Whoever it was right close indeed. Warren's going to get around Optic coming out of the pits. But, that was really close there between these three. Hopefully no contact was actually made. Looks like Electric's got this one for now. Mayhem does have 3 seconds in penalties. That hopefully he's able to negate there, even if he'll lose the position to Posh Josh, which it looks like he may lose even more. That's a hefty trip through the gravel then for Mayhem tomorrow, and I'm afraid not only is he in position to lose the spot to Posh Josh, which he has, he may lose it to Optic, who Optic now has just taken the trip around the outside of E. Warren for the 9th spot. Optic on the fresh softs. That one is going to be interesting to see, but Posh Josh now still trying to hunt down Electric Blade. Looking at Kate Thomas, yet again doesn't decide to come in. He'll have to very soon enough, I believe. Perhaps the tires aren't that far off. You can start to kind of see graining on the right side. Not really. Lancey's just gone fastest lap. Posh Josh here, he's going to look down to the inside on Electric Blade, heading into turn 1. Electric's left him plenty of room. Let's see who can get the better acceleration. Does look like Posh Josh has done it well on the inside of turn 1, and yeah, I think he's going to pull away from that one. I don't want to say easily, because Electric Blade is still right there, but if Josh can keep it clean, he may have done quite well. Very nice overtake indeed, and that puts him P6. I tell you what, Posh Josh is becoming one of the more consistent drivers on this grid. No stranger to that 6th spot. I believe he actually got it last week. Either 5th or 6th, something along those lines. Perhaps 7th, if I'm incorrect. But yeah, he's really getting used to finishing within the top 10. He's becoming a very quick driver very quickly. Here's Will Ans looking forward on E. Warren. He is within half a second. Remember, Will Ans had the incident earlier on. So it'll be good to see him make this maneuver if he's able to. Let's see, does Kate Thomas choose to come in this time? Yes, he does. So where does Kate Thomas come out is going to be the question. It looks like he'll be losing at least 5 or 6 positions here. Perhaps it's a quick stop. He'll have the softs to his advantage as well. I'm going to assume he's coming out behind Electric Blade. Perhaps Mayhem as well. Way down there in 8th, perhaps even 9th if it gets to that point. It looks like P9 is going to be the move here, unless the CPI Optic not get around him. It's going to be side by side when they come out of the pits, and that's exactly what it is. However, Optic does have the tires up to temperature, and he's able to get out ahead of Kate Thomas. Nicely done. But now it's Will Ans and E. Warren side by side through turns 2 and 3 here. Will Ans has the high side, Warren on the inside. It looks like that inside line through turn 3 has been a favorite so far today. That's about the 3rd or 4th overtake we've seen there. And I'm afraid the traction is just better out of that line of the corner anyways. But now this is what I'm interested in. We've got two Van Amersfoort drivers within a second of each other with this next time by 5 laps to go. Well, 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 how the turntables. A-Dub looking for the victory here. Is third in 4 races if he can make it happen. Remember, next week we head to Monza for the sprint. The last sprint race was at Canada, and it was absolutely unbelievable. Very fun to watch indeed. As we head for round 10 next week at Monza, and then Imola the week after. Not gravity, 3-second penalty, multiple warnings. Oh, and he's DNF'd, and that's way outside. Hopefully that's not a safety car. Oh, and I have to say, very poorly timed safety car to say the least. That is not going to be helpful there if you're A-Dub or Lancey. Cake Thomas and CPI Optic might just have an opportunity to claw back some positions here. Both drivers on the softs. Cake Thomas on the more fresh softs than that of CPI Optic. However, will they have enough time? There's a lot of drivers in between them. Will we perhaps see drivers stop for the softs? We're looking at Will Ans here, so he's just come in, as well as E. Warren, as well as Adaltonian. ECL, I believe, has just came in as well. Josh Sr., it looks like he's made up at least one spot there. And this is very interesting. The back half of the field now on the softs. The front half of the field on 11 lap old hard tires or more. You've got Posh Josh there, 13 laps old. Interesting stuff here. A-Dub and Lancey choose not to come in. I think, honestly, they probably could have to put on the softs and gotten away with it. The remaining cars still under Delta up to this point. Ooh, very interesting turn of events here as both of the honorary Dutchman and the Dutchman behind him are going to pick up the safety car here. Mayhem and Electric Blade on their way in fact, coming out now, so they've put on the fresh softs as well. I think they wanted to, perhaps, still be able to have a go at Cake Thomas. Mayhem especially, remember, he's got 3 seconds of penalty that he'll have to work around here, which that may be quite difficult for him, considering how far into the Grand Prix we are. It's going to be a safe bet that the safety car is going to be in this lap. No, I think it's going to stay out one more. Actually, yeah, that does make quite a lot of sense. We've got quite a few drivers still coming back to the grid here. I think at best we'll have 2 laps of racing here for F2, and huge championship implications in play for both the Van Amersfoort team and both of their drivers as well. 270 to 245. It's a 25-point gap in the favor of Lancey at this moment in time after his slightly lower than expected race at Silverstone last week, finishing 9th. And I think I'll have to go back and look at the points afterwards because he thinks I've miscalculated. It'll be interesting to see for sure. Shariah Coleslaw on the podium as well. Cam Tizzle looking for it. Very interesting turn of events this is going to be here. A-Dub has the lead and he's held it for the majority of the Grand Prix. It won't be a Grand Slam, but it'll be a damn good day. Shariah Coleslaw right in there as well. CPI Optic up to 5th. Now I'm going to be looking at Optic here, and as well as Cake Thomas. Both drivers 5th and 6th. They've got the podium in sight, both of them on fresh softs. I think Cam Tizzle just about ran into the back of Shariah there. It got really close. And the safety car will be in this lap. How much does A-Dub battle his teammate? Remember, Lancey is home Grand Prix. He is actually Dutch himself. And now, this is quite interesting here. We're going to have 2 laps of racing. Lap 18 and 19 to decide the winner of the Dutch Grand Prix. A-Dub has the lead, Lancey second, Shariah Coleslaw third, Cam Tizzle fourth, Optic fifth, and Kate Thomas in sixth. A-Dub, I think, is going to try to get away early, and that he does. And he's put 0.6 of a second back to his teammate there. This is what I'm concerned about here. Quite a lot of jumbling together between Optic and Kate Thomas in this as well, as they look down. Oh, and that's a big incident! I believe that was Cam Tizzle or something. That was a huge, huge accident. Oh, and that, there's a lot of front wings scattered about the circuit there. Kate Thomas, all he could do was watch it unfold. That blue flag's in the way. I'm not sure who they're for. Kate Thomas looking to get past Cam Tizzle here. A lot of front wings have just been butchered in the process of that. E. Warren down to 12th. Battling out with Will Ans there. ECL 5-second penalty for ignoring the blue flags. That's way off towards the back. As it looks like we've got another yellow flag. That's the Trident of ECL, and as well as, I believe that's Cars Ben back there. A-Dub at the moment has a half a second lead over his teammate Cam Tizzle, and Kate Thomas were side by side for a moment. Kate Thomas has the position. Cam Tizzle has the position. Will he be able to keep it? Here is CPI Optic right up against the back of Shariah Coleslaw. He'll be looking to make that move at the earliest convenience. We have a yellow flag there. It's off towards the back. It's Posh Josh, who seems to have gone around in the middle of turn 14. 0.4 of a second. Optic getting around Shariah down to the inside. Cam Tizzle looking for it to get past Shariah. He's also got Kate Thomas in pursuit. It's a half a second between the Dutch. Lancey doing his best he can. 2.5 tenths. How aggressive will he be? Kate Thomas within a tenth. Electric Blade side by side with Mayhem. It's 0.3 of a second between the two at the top. Teammates as well. It looks like Kate Thomas was able to get around Cam Tizzle there, but only Justin for how long as well? It's a half a second. On the final lap of the Grand Prix, coming to turn 11. Lancey, I think, goes a little bit wide. A-Dub's going to try to hold the bottom line. They've gotten quite even acceleration out of turn 12. Who's it going to be here? Lancey's going to look for the inside. He'll have the slipstream of his teammate. Coming to the line out of turn 14. It looks like it will be A-Dub at the line, and look at it. Synchronized Dutchman at the top. CPI Optic taking third, Shariah fourth, and Cake in fifth. Cam Tizzle sixth, Electric Blade seventh. Will Ans, beautiful race for him, he'll finish eighth. Adaltonian ninth, 10th is E. Warren on his debut. Not bad at all, but it's A-Dub up top. Synchronized Dutchman at the top of the table, and it's been that way all season. So after it's all said and done here at Zandvoort, it's A-Dub atop, Lancy in second, CPI Optic third, Shariah fourth, Cake Thomas fifth, sixth is Cam Tizzle, eighth is seventh Electric Blade, eighth Will Ends, ninth Adaltonian, 10th E. Warren, 11th Bosch Josh, 12th is Mayhem, 13th Cars Ben, 14th Josh Sr., and I believe ECL 15th, not Gravity, Texas Tornado, and Shelly the Turtle, unfortunately did not finish the Grand Prix there. And it's been a very, very exciting one, to say the least, and it'll be even more exciting next week when we head to Monza for this sprint race weekend, the second of the season. It'll be a fun one for sure. Round 10 of the F2 season next week when we head to Italy. Hotspot, it's been a pleasure for joining on the call. We'll see you next time.